underground, brother.
About 12 years old, I begin waking up on multiple occasions to my dad shaking me, asking me very seriously if I was up right then and walking around. Of course I say no and become concerned. Alongside that, my house is very strange. We moved there when I was 4. It was built in the 70s and in Southern California, Inland Empire. We live in a cul-de-sac where the house is on a acre surrounded by trees on a hillside. Very creepy outside at night and in the house. So my dad's experiencing something I don't know about yet. All the while my parents are going through a divorce. My dad moves out. I'm left with my mom and older sister. It's hard to recall when things got weird, cause strange and scary stuff always happened, but I noticed when I had a new friend stay the night at around 13 years old and he up and left in the morning and didn't wake me. Come to find out, he was being tormented by something standing in my doorway watching him as we slept in my room, and he described the person to have a cloak and large hat and described them as one of those shadow people. Never heard of at the time. He had asked me, someone was at your door watching us sleep that night. Did you know or see them? Was it your family? He was very creeped out and was kinda hard for me to take him serious with what he was saying. So that was weird. All the while I'm the new man of the house. My mum worked 2 jobs and I was homeschooled at this time, so I had till late afternoon to myself, and even when my mum was home I had free reign. Little things start happening, like I'm in the living room and I hear cabinets and stuff opening in the kitchen. Once I go in the kitchen I hear my dog barking in the living room where I just was, and this planter was knocked over. Dirt scattered. Couldn't explain it. More things like that happened. Definitely I started to be aware of a presence. So fast forward, I sleep at the end of a hall that's dark. I begin occasionally waking up to my door that was closed always, open and slight light pouring in, and once I look I see a rather short silhouette and head peeking into my room around the corner of the threshold, and I'm paralyzed with fear. I get up and pull my light string above my bed as fast as I can, and my door is back shut. I'm sure I thought it was a dream. This happens about 5 more times, and all the while I'm telling my mom about it and she never experienced a thing. Doesn't really believe me and doesn't pay much mind other than telling me I'm having bad dreams. Neither my sister too. She hasn't experienced a thing. Then another time I wake up and see light pouring in through the cracks and underneath the door, and I have sleep paralysis, but I can see my door is shut still, so no entity looking at me, except I see a black cloud misty type of thing seeping through the top crack of my door and collecting, building and accumulating in the corner of the ceiling. Mind you, it's dark as F despite the foggy light behind the door in my room already, and this thing's so black that you can see it in pitch black corners. I absolutely freak once I can move and run into my mum's room. I am about 14 and was so scared I had to sleep with her. We buy sage and bless the house and say a few prayers at that time after, and things calm down for a while. Meanwhile my sister is in a church which I'm not into, nor is my mum. Someone from her church without any prior knowledge tells her that a demon is tormenting her brother. This girl didn't even know she had a sibling. Years later I'm off to live with my dad at 17. We get to talking and he explains about those times he woke me up in a panic and said that he kept seeing the shadow person that I was seeing. He described waking up to open door and light pouring in with a short person blacker than black facing him and walking back and forth near the doorway. And him being very frightened each time he'd get up and try and find whoever was in the house and usually wake me up to see if it was me. I remember these times being woken up by my dad in a panic, him asking me, "Were you just up right now?" He said that one time he had been trying to tell my mom what he had been seeing and she kinda just ignores him and says he's crazy or he's having a dream. He wakes up one time and sees the shadow person at the door in the hallway. Paralyzed with fear, he manages to wake my mum up by nudging her with his hand, and he whispered, "Look, it's there," and my dog is growling on the edge of the bed. I've gotten stories from both sides, my mom and dad, of this incident, and they match up. He's seeing someone stand there with the door open but only sees a shadow, and my dog probably does too. My mum's telling him I don't see anything, there's nothing there. She just sees the door shut and nothing but darkness, no feeling or nothing, but remembers the dog growling at the door. My dad jumps up quick, turns the light on, and there's nothing. Door is shut. I guess he called a demonologist and explained what was happening after a while, and the guy had a name for it and everything, but told my dad, you don't see a large tall man at the foot of your bed with a cloak and or large hat? About 7 feet tall. Sometimes my dad says no, only the short one outside the room, and he says, well, what you're describing is usually one of a pair of demons. And there's usually a tall man with a strange hat, and has my dad absolutely shook. So the next couple nights at some point it happens again, sees the small guy in the hallway, and he takes a second look to his left and sees what he described as a 7-foot-tall black abyss of a man standing at the foot of his bed, and he's wearing a very abnormally tall top hat and has a cloak on or a trench coat, just standing there. I'm not exactly sure what happened after that. He told me this story some years ago. But that shook me to my core hearing that, cause obviously those times where I was experiencing things in the night, if I had taken a second look I might have saw him too, instead of just the short one in the doorway. And it was sort of what my friend had described when I was a kid and he stayed the night. Fast forward. So I move in with a GF at 19, haven't been to my mum's in a while. She gets pregnant, we get a small apartment. And things are okay for the most part. After years of reminiscing about this shadow person, my son is 3 now. I have a 1-bedroom in downtown, and I pulled the mattress in the living room for movie night in the living room, and we fell asleep in there. My GF left for her job at 1 a.m. I believe, and I am with my son in the living room, and about 10 feet in front of the foot of my bed to the left is the doorway to my bedroom. I wake up around 3 a.m. regularly at this point also, and always creeps me out. This time I wake up and I see light pouring in from my bedroom and a short shadow and or person looking at me from around the corner of the door threshold in my bedroom. I'm instantly shocked with fear, but I manage to sit up and I'm rubbing my eyes, looking back at it over and over and wondering why it's not going away. When I rub my eyes thinking this can't be happening. No way am I seeing this. Then my son sits up with tired eyes and says, Dad, make go away, while pointing in that direction. Baby talk, but he meant to say Dad, make him go away obviously. I'm absolutely shook to my core that I'm seeing this, not believing my eyes. Then my child confirms it that yup, I'm seeing this fucking thing again. As soon as respond though and comfort my child, it's gone. I tell my GF and she's scared as well and knows of the history of my paranormal encounters and everything, but things move forward. We let the lease run out on that apartment last year and weren't ready to move, so we move with the in-laws. We don't get along well and never did, so I move with my mum and come back to work near my family home, while my GF stays at her parents' with the kid for their help. Moved back in my mum's 3 months ago. I'm 24 now. Haven't been here in 7 years almost, and as soon as I'm back I'm getting into listening to scary stories on YouTube, and I'm hearing stories of shadow people, the Hatman, the old hag. This story is the only reason I've made a Reddit account. Just to share my experience. So I'm here alone a lot again. It started with one night I came home, it was only me and I am in my room with my door shut. I hear noises as if someone's home, but I know there is not. Noises like fridge opening and slamming shut rather hard, my creaky old cabinets opening and shutting, the microwave, etc. etc. So I get up expecting someone in the kitchen, and nothing. This is about 2 a.m. I go back to bed and hear it again, and now I'm shook. I'm frozen in fear as I was as a teen when things happened. I hear footsteps all through the house. It sounds like someone's walking from one end of the house down to my room and back. Distinct person footstep sounds back and forth rather fast too, like someone rushing around to leave for work or something. I'm looking out my window at the driveway, expecting to see my mum's husband's car, like maybe it's him, but no, nothing. I'm scared as fuck. I lay back down despite the noise and I'm being quiet. Whatever it is, I don't want it to know I'm here. I hear this thing walk straight up to my door, as I hope it doesn't. In my head it was like it knew. I hear it rest some weight against my door, like as if someone put their hand on the knob and pressed to ear against the door. It's unlocked. I'm frozen in fear and hoping to God the door don't open, and I swear I telepathically could sense this thing was contemplating coming in and decided not to and walked away. This was more frightening than the time the black smoke poured in the door, more frightening than when my child saw it too. So next few nights, it's a weekend, my mom and her husband are gone each night, and I'm a night owl. I'm up usually unless I got work in the I'm hearing things regularly just like what I described. But with my bad relationship with my mum, I didn't want to immediately move back in and then start telling her the house is haunted and have her think I'm on drugs. Even though knowing what happened when I was a young teen, I finally days later, very subtle, I bring up that I was hearing stuff in the house and in the living room, and did they happen to as well recently, and I had said, is there a ghost or something, has this happened since I left? And she says absolutely not, never, and makes a joke about that it may be something following me. No more than a night or two later I fall asleep with no recollection. Usually I have to turn my TV or phone off to go to sleep once I'm tired, so I know generally the time I fell asleep even. This time I remember laying down on Instagram on my phone wasting time, don't remember being tired. Next thing I can remember is the following. I'm dreaming but not aware of it, so I'm terrified. I'm bound with hands behind my back and I'm in pain, and I'm in a purgatory sort of environment with this large hatted tall dense black of a shadow in the figure of a man standing in front of me, and he's explaining to me for the better part that he's a demon, exact words I can't recall well, and telling me other things of that sort, and he has a bloody fleshy decapitated head in his hand that is a demon head and has horns and fangs, and he makes me take a bite out of it and eat the flesh as I'm in agony. By that time my subconscious says this is ridiculous and it's a dream, so I wake up, but once I wake up my blinds to my window swinging around making a fuck ton of noise, and they are right next to my I sleep under the window alongside the wall, and I know for a fact my window is shut, my door is shut, there is no draft whatsoever. I get up immediately and am trying to process the dream I was having and why it sounded like someone jumped through my window with the blinds shut and the window shut. I am up now trying to recreate it, and I open my window even and my door and the window in the room of which my door is in, and try to create a draft as such to make my blinds move all crazy and make noise. Not even with my window open could I get them to move. And when I say moving, they were making so much noise and swinging around, like I said, as if something had went crashing into them without breaking my window. I know for a fact my window was shut. I just can't explain why they moved. I don't have a ceiling fan nor any other fan. It gets pretty stagnant as far as air. There's no draft where I'm at in the house, and I just can't explain it. Not to mention the dream I'm having before that. That brings you up to speed to present day. That was about 3 weeks ago.